just on YouTube. We are also on Instagram. So if you haven't already, go give us a follow on our Instagram page at Cowboys Report IG, posting short form stuff, videos and photos, etc. over there. So if you're on Instagram, why not give us a follow, get some more Cowboys in your feed when you're scrolling that platform. At Cowboys Report IG. Link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's talk bringing back Stephon Gilmore. Blogging the boys that I thought was a pretty solid argument as to why the Cowboys should attempt to bring back Gilmore in NFL free agency. Now, attempt and try and reasonable, all important to remember that it's not always a lock necessarily either. So argument part one of why bring him back, pretty straightforward. He's still a good football player. Is he the same guy he was in his prime? No. If you're going to rank the top 64 or maybe you want to expand to 3 CBs, 90-plus starting corners, I think Gilmore's in that list. I would have a very tough time finding 90 other corners who I think are better than Stephon Gilmore right now. I don't find that likely. Now, the issue for Dallas is, is he your starter? The one pro I agree with is you are making that cornerback room great. Of all the things you could have just run it back with this year, I think corner was the most obvious one. Now, they're fine right now. They have Trevon Diggs coming back from injury. Deron Bland played great last year. Jordan Lewis as your nickel is fine. Don't worry about that. He's a good player. I like Caelen Carson as a developmental piece. A little bit thin beyond that. You make Gilmore worst case CB4. It's a great cornerback room. I totally agree with that. And I like the other argument angle, too, was that this proves the Cowboys want to win. Now, does signing Stephon Gilmore alone actually prove that? Maybe not. But it makes us feel better about it, right? You bring back Gilmore, even if he's coming off the injury, etc. That's a big deal. So I do like the argument there. I don't think it actually proves it, but at least gives you some more evidence of a team trying to win games where they haven't really done a lot of that this offseason. More on this to come, the downsides or anti-arguments, I suppose. But would you sign Stephon Gilmore? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off at the pinned comment of today's show. Now, look, I would be happy to bring back Stephon Gilmore. I don't think anyone is that opposed to it at the right price, at the right role, etc. And that's part of this whole conversation. There are buts involved here that you have to work through and clear and vet and ensure, okay, this does make sense for all the parties involved. The first con here, what actually are the contract demands? I don't think Stephon Gilmore wants to play for the vet minimum, because that also ties in a point, too, we'll get to here in a second. I think he is looking for decent money. Now, is that 4? Is that 5? Is that 7? As you get further into July and into August, the demands have to drop a little bit if no one's willing to pay, unless somebody ends up getting hurt. And that could also be at play here. I don't think Stephon Gilmore wants to be a backup. There are actually no active corners his age in the NFL. Now, if Patrick Peterson signs, there's another one. But corner is, historically speaking, a young man's game. And I think Gilmore wants to go somewhere he's going to play. And I don't think it makes sense for teams to go, we'll bring him in as our CB5. That's how they view him, which I don't think they should view him that way, but still. And go, he'll be a backup and help on special teams? I think as you get into older players, the ageism that comes in is, if you're not starting for us, having an old backup doesn't really impact us the way it would having a younger, cheaper backup. The final angle here is what's his health. They had coming off that shoulder injury, had surgery. I think that was a factor in why he's unsigned. But there's a lot of guys who are unsigned right now at corner. Xavier Howard is still out there. Patrick Peterson. So maybe there's a little bit of a surplus in the market, and teams are waiting to see how it all plays out. But if the money and the playing time match for all parties involved, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't happen. And it's probably one of those two main reasons in the end. Now, if you've watched our live Cowboys Report shows or the new intro, you've seen the turnover chain, right? You can get yours as well over at chatsports.com/Cowboys chain. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. I've got the white chain link. The blue one is the one that's available and on sale, by the way, for about 25% off. Actually, it might be 30% off now. Go to chatsports.com/Cowboys chain. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. More free agency conversation. How about adding an offensive tackle? Pro Football Network was naming one player each NFL team should sign, and their pitch, their suggestion, their idea was former Chiefs offensive tackle Donovan Smith. Here's the argument from PFN. Dallas may opt to start top pick Tyler Guyton on the left side of the offensive line. Depth is still needed at the area perennial Pro Bowler Tyron Smith bequeaths. Bequeaths, is that right? That sounded weird. The multi-time Super Bowl winning Donovan Smith is perfect for depth and championship experience purposes. Oh, for starters, he's going to start at left tackle, or at least he's going to be at left tackle, the starting spot, not necessarily a lock per se. Donovan Smith was the Super Bowl starting left tackle for the Chiefs. Doesn't mean he played well. These are the PFF numbers, obviously. He struggled. He wasn't very good as a run blocker. He got beat a lot in pass protection. I think Mahomes at times bailed him out. Now, Mahomes also sets pretty deep and kind of makes life tough on his tackles, but it's July. He's unsigned. My concern is this. Is he any better than Chuma Edoga? Like, is he actually? Can Asim Richards, who we'll spend some more time on here in a little bit, maybe carve out a bigger role? What about Matt Waletzko? Does Josh Ball do anything? Can Nathan Thomas be your super sub backup left lineman? Earl Bostic is really more of a tackle than he is an interior lineman, but the math is weird on the interior side of it, even if you put Josh Ball at guard. Like, I don't know if you need someone of Smith's caliber at left tackle. So what do you think? I'll give my thoughts here momentarily. Would you add Donovan Smith if you ran the Cowboys? S for sign, P for pass. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments of this video. I myself am just not interested in Smith. He has not been good for several years now. It was kind of a surprise when the Chiefs picked him up off the street and said, you can start for us. He struggled in Tampa down the stretch, in Kansas City the past year. Remember when Micah Parsons destroyed him in the Bucs game? He was cooking Donovan Smith left and right. The Chiefs, by the way, don't seem to want him, even though he was their starting left tackle for a Super Bowl winning team. Isn't that kind of a red flag? The idea that, yeah, he's not good enough for the Chiefs? Look, the Cowboys might not start Tyler Guyton. Maybe he starts week 5 instead of week 1, whatever. But Donovan Smith doesn't move the needle for me relative to other offensive linemen on this roster or even maybe a bigger name in free agency. Adding another Jag, just the guy, doesn't matter. That doesn't move the needle for me. So it's a hard pass for me as it relates to Donovan Smith. Now, we are approaching 190,000 subscribers right here on the Cowboys Report. Help us get there. More free videos every single day when you guys are subscribed. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Intriguing, kind of similar with our offensive line conversation here. Suggestion from Cowboys Wire. Is it time for the Cowboys to put Asim Richards over at right tackle? I am intrigued by this. Now, Richards played sparingly in the preseason, was basically a redshirt year coming out of North Carolina. I thought did some good things in the preseason. It'd be concerning if he was a dumpster fire in the preseason because you're not normally playing against the top-end starters. But the main argument was, what's his path to being a contributing player? Guyton is your left tackle. Tyler Smith is your left guard. At best, you're the backup left tackle swing guy. Terrence Steele, meanwhile, is fighting for his future in Dallas. If he struggles this year, that right tackle spot is wide open. And there's also question marks about, do I trust Chuma Edoga at right tackle? He can be a swing guy too. The value of being a swing player, being able to play both sides of the offensive line, is amplified when you're the 8th or 9th offense. I'm supposed to be in the 4th or 5th, right? So should Richards flip to right tackle this season? R for yes, L for no. Sound off in the comments. I think the idea of moving Asim Richards to right tackle makes a ton of sense. You spent a first-round pick on Tyler Guyton. He is your guy, short-term, long-term, at the left tackle spot. You're not going to have Richards surpass him, barring, frankly, something bad happening. I think Terrence Steele, meanwhile, is absolutely in a make-or-break season. So could he prove himself as a swing tackle? Somebody goes down, Richards is the first guy in at tackle over Chuma Edoga, over Matt Waletzko, whatever. The position flexibility matters at the back end of the roster. If you're limited to being a one-spot player on the offensive line and you're the 9th or 10th best offensive lineman and the other 9th or 10th best offensive lineman can play 3 spots, guess who's going to get the spot? The guy that's more versatile. So I want to see if Richards can do it. I want to see if he's able to hang at the right side, which he didn't really do any of necessarily at North Carolina. Best way to do that, get him going in training camp.